Welcome to our Wellness Hub, where you will find experts in the field of health, wellness, healing, and mindset. My name is Marnie C. I'm a creative mindset coach and your host. Today, we have a very special guest. Her name is Roberta Ravella. She's a speaker, strategist, and founder of the Joy Experiment. Roberta, thank you so much for being here today. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and your story, and what was the turning point in your life that made you start doing what you're doing today? The floor is yours.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so nice to be here. So for turning points in my life, I mapped them out actually a few times because there's been more than one questions that came to me like that really needed to be answered and were deep questions. And I feel like from my inner being, right? From my soul, whatever you want to call it. And the first time that really came on to me very strong, I'd been in the mortgage business for a while in sales, making very good money, was independent on my own, purchased my own home, all the things that I always said I would do. And my life was still really chaotic. Um, and at that point, I was relying on the amount of money I was making and the prestige that I had in my industry, and from being a super hard worker. And I had an amazing boyfriend. We had this social life, and it was the things I always thought would validate me. And both of those things went away in a matter of a few months. 2008 happened. And so somewhere along the way, I was laying in bed feeling sorry for myself. And my inner me asked me, if it never comes back, are you enough? Are you enough? Do you need this money? Do you need a relationship to be enough? And I did not answer that question right away. I completely ignored it because it scared the ever living out of me, and it persisted until I answered it. And that was years later, but a progression, right? Like as I began to see things more clearly, working in my values and understanding that a lot of things I thought were for me were not making me happy. Um, at another point, I had shut down, I left the mortgage business. I had opened another business and shut that down. Just, it was time for me to do so. And I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do next. And we were on the way home from vacation. I was sitting on a plane, and a question came to me like, so with such force that I started crying. And I'm not a big crier, certainly not in public. And that question was, how do you want to experience your life? So once I had accepted my worthiness, the next question was, how do you want to experience your life? And that's where this business came from, this new way of being in the world and in my life. And that's when I decided this is what I wanted to do out loud, not behind closed doors.
The rest is history. And so, what is this joy experiment exactly?
Yes, it's about creating our lives from a place of joy, ease, and flow. We're taught a lot of times that life happens to us and we deal with it, and that we're in constant response to things. We're also taught that joy and ease and flow are what happen after you do the hard work, after you prove yourself, after you become worthy enough. You have enough money, you have the relationship, you're in the home. Like, how old do you have to be before your life doesn't have to be chaotic anymore, right? That we can actually enjoy it. And we're also taught often that if we are enjoying our life, we're at a slower pace, and we're not at a pace, or we're not going to be profitable or successful in business, that they are mutually exclusive, and they're not. So creating the experiment is about creating. I didn't choose the word experiment first, but it was the one that I kind of, as I was going through trademarking and all this stuff, I was like, okay, experiment. And it actually worked out really well because my personal training was win lose. It was yes no, pass fail. And experiments don't really work that way. You come up with a hypothesis that you want to prove or disprove or see what happens when I blank. I want this result. I wonder if this will get it to me. So it allows you curiosity, it allows you learning, it allows you growth through experience instead of, well, I tried this, it didn't work, I'm a loser. I tried this, it worked, I'm a winner. So the experiment part of it is that. And it's also up to you what you want to experiment with.
It's a
Yes.
process, and falling in love with the process, not
Yes.
just the end product. And who are your clients? Women, men, or how does it work?
So mostly entrepreneurial women that want to create their business and their life. I always say life first because your business is just a part of your life. It's not your life. That want to create a life, not respond to it. They want joy, they want ease, they want flow in a place of maturity. They want to be in their values. They want to feel good when they wake up in the morning. not pressured and chaotic. They want to feel great about saying, you know what, I want to make a bazillion dollars. Okay, good. Or, you know what, I want to make enough money to live in the country somewhere where I don't have to worry about too much, whatever you want, but just to be themselves. I think there's a lot of permission and allowing there. And we help women work through that. Often women feel we are not allowed to want what we want. And so that's part of the process, part of the experiment.
You wrote a book, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And what's it called?
It's called Open for Business: How to Build a Business You Love Without the Hustle and Grind. It's on Amazon.
Yes, we're going to have all the links under the interview. And do you have one practical tip for our audience to find joy in their lives?
Yes. So it's something I've been doing with a friend of mine lately that's been so fun is if there's something that we desire, right? Something I desire. I want my business to grow. I want it to make a lot of money and I want to feel joy in that. Okay. So often when you say something you desire, there'll be some resistance that comes around it. Like this is going to be very hard, or do I really deserve that money, or whatever it is. So in whatever that resistance is, let's just say that you feel like it's going to have to be hard. Look at all the things in your life that are easy or filled with ease and appreciate them. So anything in your business that is easy for you, jumping on a podcast with you is easy and fun for me. So part of my appreciations at the end of the day today will be like, I appreciate Moni so much. That was so fun. And it was so easy to do. And so the more we appreciate something, the more it comes to us. We also start to notice how much we already have of what we want. And then how much more capacity we have for more.
So it's mainly a mindset shift. But do you have any specific modalities that you use, or it's mainly, talking and learning how to shift the way you think?
I do have some other modalities. I have some frameworks that I use. I have one called the Ease and Flow framework, where we go through something that you want, that you desire, and help you become open to it. That's part of Open for Business. And there's another framework in Open for Business that's called Relief, Allow, Release, Receive, RARR. And through that process, you can see where you're seeking relief. I call it relief. Sometimes you really are looking for relief because you're in emotional or mental or physical pain, exhaustion, overwhelm. So that's relief in that sense. Or maybe you're looking for relief and that you want your desires to be open and available to you. And so through that process of allowing it to be okay, releasing the things that would keep us from receiving what we want, what we desire. So that's a process that I use as well.
And what do you do every day to keep the joy? Do you have morning rituals to stay focused and joyful?
Yeah. I tend to hop around a little bit, like I don't like to do the same workout all the time. I don't like to do the same meditation all the time either. But one thing I do every morning when I wake up before I get out of bed, and this is in direct response to a habit that I broke, which was when I was in the mortgage business. And then afterwards, I would wake up in the morning and the first thing that pop into my head is, what day is it? What do I have to do? What did I miss? Like I was already hair on fire. It could be a Saturday or a Sunday. It didn't matter. My nervous system was fried. So, in helping myself calm that down, and then I changed that into, I started with, I don't have to do anything because we don't. I don't care how many things you think you have to do. It is all a choice. Choices you gladly make, like getting your children up or feeding the dog or turning on the coffee pot, are still choices. So everything is a choice. So nothing. The answer in the morning when you wake up is I have nothing that I have to do. And when you can calm yourself into a place, you wake up and you feel peaceful, then my next step was to start appreciating the smallest things I could think of. Like it's really chilly in my room. I like to sleep in a cold room. I love my sheets. I love my pillowcase. I love that my husband is in the bed with me. Or if he started snoring at night, I snuck into the other bed and it's really quiet in there. So nothing grandiose, but just the feeling of waking up first thing in the morning and feeling the calm and feeling that peace around me in the quiet and appreciating whatever it is that feels good to me at the moment. Now, sometimes it's more than that. I'll have something that will happen the day before, or a podcast I was on, or a conversation I had, or whatever will come into my mind, and I'll think of that. But at a very minimum, I just think of the things that are around me that are tactile that I really appreciate.
And one thing I wanted to ask you, you are an entrepreneur. You have become an entrepreneur since you went from corporate to entrepreneurship a few years ago. Do you think that people have to have some type of mindset to make that jump, that shift from corporate and going solo as you did?
I think there's a particular type of person that was just born entrepreneurial. I was always in sales, so I generated my own income. It was different for me coming out because nobody was directing me, where before I had a decent amount of direction. I think it's just the desire to create something on your own and to see that vision, come to fruition. And I feel for some people it's really strong in them, and that's the person who would want to do it. My husband always laughs at it because he would never, ever, ever have gone out on his own. It's just not who he is as a human, which is fine. Some people want to, some people don't. Some people it's later in life. But if you feel that true desire that you want to create something and you have a vision for it, I think that's how you know.
You should go for it.
Yes.
And what it's beautiful, what you've been doing. What is the best way to contact you? A website, email, social media?
Yes, you can find all those links and access to me on my website. There's a free consultation calendar on there. You can find my email there. My email is my name. It's Roberta at robertaravella.com. And my website is thejoyexperiment.live. There's also a free assessment there to see if you are living in your values or someone else's.
That's wonderful. You heard that. So make sure you take that assessment. And well, Roberta, time just flew. It's incredible every time we talk. And I really want to thank you again for coming here and sharing your story, sharing your expertise. You are an inspiration to the
Thank you.
world. And I really hope to see you again. Never stop what you're doing. Until next time. Ciao.
Ciao.